we're talking about the interesting country of Turkey right now, the influence it has on the Middle East, the influence that it has on Europe, and the place that it has in biblical events of the end time, how it's named in Ezekiel 38 and other places. And Jimmy, I think all of us that are listening to the news, we've heard Turkey mentioned along with Qatar in terms of being the main depots of terms of support for Hamas in Israel. Talk about those two countries and the amount of money, the amount of armament that is going through those countries into Hamas.
Well, Qatar needs a surrogate terrorist organization around the Jewish state of Israel because a part of their plan is to join with this coalition to wipe out the Jewish state of Israel. Turkey needs the exact same thing. They need to have a surrogate operation there, and in the Gaza Strip, they have chosen Hamas to be that surrogate terrorist group that's going to do their bidding for them as they try to get rid of the Jewish state of Israel. In fact, I think I mentioned earlier in the program, the leadership of Israel says that the foreign headquarters for Hamas is located in Turkey, so that gives them a great entree into the battles going on and influence upon these leaders of Hamas and ultimately what they are going to be doing. You know, you have to realize that Turkey was, for about a 400-year period of time, from around 1500 to 1900, the leader of the entire Middle East. It was the Ottoman Empire. It was the Islamic base for the entire world. In fact, they were known at that time as the Turkish Caliphate, which is what we're seeing over there in Syria and Iraq with ICE, the Islamic State, and with al-Baghdadi, who has set up this caliphate. So caliphate is not new. The precedent would go back in history to that 400-year period of time. In fact, the Ottoman Empire was brought down by the Brits. That was the change of the Middle East. Now Turkey wants that back. Tayyip Erdogan once again wants to have that power that they had in the Ottoman Empire. The church was in there. That was Asia Minor in biblical times. That's where Paul preached and many churches were established. Jesus in Revelation 2 and 3 said, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I know your works, they're pretty good, but I've got somewhat against you. I'm going to remove you. That's what happened. The church was removed because they didn't stand up to the standard that the Lord had set. When you have that vacuum, then you have rushing into it the Islamic world. Leader was Muhammad, and he went that way, and it started moving westward. They were going into Europe. That's what's being repeated today, John. That's why Turkey is a major player in this end-time scenario that's found in Ezekiel 38. But in that alignment of nations, they will be key as well as they assist the other nations to come together. And many of them are falling right in line with what Tayyip Erdogan wants to do, have an Islamic control over the entire Middle East.